Okay, we're live here in Kitchener for the Million Children March, as I think they're calling it. Seems to be a lot of people out, a lot of protesters, a lot of counter-protesters. Hopefully I'll get to talk to some of them on both sides. There seems to be chanting and counter-chanting. It looks like the main protesters are up here on this balcony primarily, and down below, and then on this side, it looks like there's a lot of counter-protesters, a lot of people with trans progress flags, that kind of thing. It's a beautiful day here in Kitchener, and we'll go walk around and see what we can see and maybe talk to a few people. I think there's a lot of people here on the sidelines. How you doing, bud? You want to say hello? Can you say hello or not? We can see you. There's police here, but people so far seem fairly well behaved. Could get pretty loud here. I wanted to set up before I kind of got into the thick of things. I'm not sure if this is by design or not, but it looks like we've got a water feature here that are keeping the two sides separate. Why are you out here today? Why are you here today?
We are here to protest against the schooling system, like they avoided it for to the children, so we are against that.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty loud here.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that protesters like you are fueled with hate. Do you think that's true?
No. There's a particular age for children to drink, right? You cannot ask for 3 years old to allow him to drink, right? So because he's not capable of thinking, or he's not capable of like understand that and assume that, right? So that's the same thing with that. Let children decide when they are capable of thinking, rather than feeding them rubbish at the age of 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. That's our only.
So you think there's some decisions that are better left to a child's parents as opposed to the children's themselves?
Yeah.
Like, do you guys have children?
Yeah.
How many children do you have?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah.
No. No children? Do you have children? No. Okay. How old is your child?
He's a 3 years old.
3 years old.
So he'll be joining school next year. Yeah.
My kids are a bit older, but when they were little, I wouldn't let them get a tattoo when they're 6.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't let them do lots of things. Maybe like they want to eat a lot of donuts. But I'm their dad, I love them. I say, well, maybe you can have one donut. Anything else you wanted to say about why you guys are here?
No, we are here to support that cause.
Yeah, that's all.
It's not just about the hate, like we are not here to hate someone. It's just we are here to like not let them enforce something which the parents are not agree with.
I see.
So that is what we are here for.
Okay. I think there's lots of people here that are here because of their faith. Tell me a little bit about your faith and if it has anything to do with why you're here.
Within our faith, it's different thing, but it's common to all faiths, right?
Okay.
So that is why, because you see here different people protesting for a single cause,
right?
And it's not related with hate at all. It's just like do not enforce something which the parents are not agree with us. Right. So that's the main cause of it.
That's it. Good. Well, thank you for chatting. I appreciate it. Enjoy your day.
Everyone, if I could have your attention, please. Could we get everyone off the water fountain space? The police would like the water space cleared, and that goes for the protesters and the anti-protesters. So we want you just to move back this way a little bit, okay?
How are you? What brings you out today?
Parents know the best.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
Forget now pronouns. It's male or female. That's what God made. Male or female.
I think a lot of people here have a certain faith tradition. To what degree, if any, does your faith have to do with you being here today?
We're born again Christian. We believe that God made man and woman, and that's it.
Yeah. In His own image.
Yes, in His own
Male
image.
and female, He created.
Yep.
Only male and female. Only male and female. Now, what if? How would you feel if there was a child out there, or a family out there, where that family believed there was many genders, but they were going to go to school but not be taught it? Would you be okay with them just going to school and believing that there's 14 genders?
Sorry,
Would you be okay with? Are you okay with other people believing differently about how many genders there are, if they're not teaching?
we
in
love
school?
everybody.
You love
Everybody is loved. Yeah. So we just hope and pray that they would see the light and be born again and be in heaven someday with the rest of us.
Thank you for chatting. Appreciate it. How are you? How you doing today? How are you? What brings you out today? What brings you out today?
Supporting
Yeah.
freedom.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Okay. How are you? What brings you out today?
Sorry?
What brings you out today? Why are you here today?
To make them to listen to our voice, to keep our kids alone and let them choose whatever they want without any pressure. What
see.
they wish, what they want, without pressure.
Yeah, like respecting the parents' rights?
Yeah.
I see, yeah. Do you have children in the school system?
Yeah, I do have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 5 kids.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've got 4 myself. Yeah. Very good. There's a lot of people here whose faith is part of why they're here. Does that apply to you? Are you of a certain faith tradition?
Yeah, I'm Muslim.
You're Muslim.
Yeah.
And that's important to you that you're able to raise your children according to your faith?
Yeah, according to my faith, I will show them, I will let them know, and I will let them choose whatever they want without any pressure from my side or from the other side. They need to choose.
I see.
Yeah, they need to be adult and
Yep.
able to think, discover, decide.
I see.
Now they're kids, they don't know anything, they don't understand, they
Yeah.
can't choose.
Yeah.
Even they can't choose their clothes, they can't choose the healthy foods and unhealthy food.
Right. So as
How
your
can-
mother, you need to make certain decisions for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Especially when they're little. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Very good. Yeah. There's a lot of people in the media that say that the people that are coming here today are hateful. What do you say to that? Is that true, do you think?
No, I don't think they are hateful. Yeah, they want to keep the rights for themselves, for their kids,
Yep.
to be able to be raised in a healthy environment and to give them a guidance and let them choose whatever they want. That's it.
Well, thank you for talking, and I can't say it in Arabic, but may peace be upon you, and may the blessings of God be upon you and your family.
Thank you.
How you doing, sir?
Hi, how are you?
Hi. My name is Peter. I'm just curious, what brings you guys out today? Why are you here today?
We don't want to educate this one in school. School not for this one. School for learning.
The school's for learning, but
Yes.
not about different genders and things like that. Yeah.
Yes. This is my point.
I see.
This is my point.
Is this your son here?
Yeah.
How are you? So you got to not be in school today to come out. How do you like that? It's good?
Okay.
Very good. Well, thank you. Enjoy your day.
Yeah.
How are you?
Christian, Muslim, Sikh, every religion, we have to stay together. We cannot allow the government to dictate us. We cannot be brainwashed. Please understand, for our future generation, we have to fight forever. This is our finished work. We have to fight for our future, for our children. Please do not give up. Fight and fight and fight. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please kids, please those who have placards, you go in the back, don't block front. Go back, kids, let placards go back. Please.
Are you trying to get really high?
Please go back.
Do you know who else? Pennywise.
How are you today?
Great.
So you got a nice clear sign, legible. Can you tell me about why you're here today and what your message is?
I'm terrified of what's coming down the line.
Yeah?
Okay, so we're going to start
So
with
far,
the singing
I've
of the
been
national
untouched.
anthem
We're in a
by
small Catholic
young
school,
children here.
but that doesn't matter. It's for all the children, and I really just feel there's strength in numbers, so I wanted to come show my support. I definitely think that we need to put the emphasis back on education, and parents need to be able to choose. But fundamentally, there's two sexes, a male and a female. The loss of common sense and logic is devastating, and so we really need to come together. I hope this means something.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. How you doing, sir? Good. How are you? Can you tell me about your flag? I don't know that I know that one.
That's the Christian flag.
Okay. Can you say more about that? I see the cross.
Yeah, it's just in praise of Jesus, and I thought it was important to bring it here because the Muslim community was putting on this event, and I thought it was a great way to show solidarity. It's something that's been really, really helpful in uniting a broad spectrum of people for a cause that's greatly worthy. The counter protesters, they really love it. It gets them all emotional. None of them are beyond redemption, so it's a good marker for them to see that we're not hate. We're all love. We're all love here. We're glad that they're here. We love for them to come over on the side of righteousness and reality, really, right? I mean, children, there's no such thing as a trans child. They can't consent to puberty blockers, and there are kids, right? If you're not having kids, you have no say in it. So, but we're stronger together, right? So it's good to see a lot of people here.
Thanks for letting me know.
You're very welcome.
For our children. Fantastic. Thank you. That was beautiful. So next we will have Qasim to give us the land acknowledgement.
And now
Okay.
Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the indigenous people.
No, just regular. Thank you. Have you seen the new digital ID here? Health card, driver's license, all of that. Watch.
Oh, very good. That'll keep you within bounds. Make sure you don't leave your...
The idea is we are nothing but cattle if we accept digital ID, right?
Seems to be that way. What brings you out? That's nice, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
What brings you out today?
Just here to spread the word that we're here for love as well. We just try to stop indoctrination of children, government overreach. Our education system has stopped being an education system. It's trying to turn us into people who just follow instructions as opposed to think for ourselves, right? So the entire education system has been indoctrination for other ideologies besides what this is about. So yeah, I'm just here to support the children, the next generation, because yeah, it's scary the place the world is going right now.
Do you have children yourself?
No, I don't.
There's people in the media, in Twitter, etc., in our elite media class who say that this protest is hate fuel. What do you say to that?
I say there's no hate. I think we should be chanting the same thing with them, to be honest. I've seen flyers for the counter protests where they are saying masks are mandatory. I don't understand how a group can claim to be peaceful if they're demanding that all of their supporters wear masks. Clearly they're going to do things that they don't want to be known. So I think that's just a narrative that they're spreading to discredit the movements. There's no hate. Well, maybe there are people who would strongly disagree with that, but this is about stopping the indoctrination for 95% of the people here. Thank you. Cheers. Here, take a few of those too. All government information there. Not their sticker. Thanks.
Leave our kids alone. I'm sorry.
So can I just read your sign? Okay. So do you think this protest is hateful? This one over here?
It's up to you if you want to talk.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's coming from ultimately like the American right movement, and it's based on religious intolerance fundamentally.
Yeah. Like Christian, Muslim, both, or?
Well, I mean, the organizers are what, like three Muslim people, and then that guy who worked for Tucker Carlson, so he's a Christian.
Okay.
I'm a Christian.
Okay.
I think being trans is fine.
Okay. Now, what about, so you have a certain view about trans issues, and
Yep.
I'm assuming some of the people over here have a different idea.
For sure.
So why is having one strong view hateful and the other not? Or I'm assuming your position is not hateful.
Yeah, well, I mean, my position is that in the grade 8 curriculum, students are educated that trans and non-binary people exist, and they're saying that children should not know that trans and non-binary people exist. I think the fact of this protest means that it's a social issue in Canada that people should know about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that I took away from just seeing the amount of people on both sides.
Yeah.
This is an important issue, I think, for a country, for a society.
Yeah, I mean, I think people should be educated on it, and I think like it's taught in grade 8. I think 13-year-olds can hear about trans people exist, non-binary people exist, and like some of them are saying, oh well, that's indoctrination, like, and that's why I have this sign, because it's not really how it works.
Yeah, the words are confusing because there's a lot of sloganeering, frankly, on both sides.
Agreed.
I just lost my train of thought there. How do you feel about parents being notified whether their child under 16 wants to use a different pronoun?
Right. So I think it's a false issue.
Okay.
I think the problem is that like if the New Brunswick law, right? The New Brunswick law is what it's all being based on, and the New Brunswick law was like, okay, they have to notify parents if the child changes their name in their official documents and official pronouns. Well, the parents are going to get the report card, so like obviously they'll be notified. So it doesn't affect anyone. What it was a symbol to parents that, oh, don't worry, like if your kid's not going to be weird and trans at our school, it's a symbol to kids that, by the way, if you want to do any experimenting, that's a big deal, and like your parents should be notified. I think the law is kind of dumb, like to notify parents if they're under 16, because it doesn't really affect anyone. It's just a symbol.
Right.
Like the people in New Brunswick who got it passed, they did a Freedom of Information request, and there hadn't been a single instance. Like it was just like no one had ever complained about their kid secretly being trans.
So if the law doesn't really do anything, it sounds like you're saying it's kind of a toothless law or meaningless law, then why the backlash from, I'll say, your side, for lack of a better word?
Sure.
Why make such a big deal out of it if it
Well, I'm here because I want trans children to see that, no, it's not just people saying you have to be outed, we can't learn about you in schools. Like the not learning about us in schools thing, like I'm not... That's like I said, we should be learning about that. So I think they're wrong, which is why I'm here with a sign to physically show. But
I appreciate you talking to me. I noticed you had someone there who maybe cautioned you, but I believe in dialogue, even if we disagree on certain things.
For sure.
You mentioned your faith, the Christian faith.
Yep.
A lot of people sort of on that side are people of faith.
Yes.
Tell me, to what degree, if any, does your faith inform sort of your stance on this issue?
I think it informs it. I mean, a fair amount. My faith is that like people should take care of each other. People should look after each other. And so I see like children being bullied for being trans. I see people saying your existence is sexualization, and that's just cruel. Like Jesus said, love each other. Jesus said, take care of people. Jesus hung out with prostitutes. Jesus chased the moneylenders out of the temple with a whip. I think if Jesus sees like a poor little trans kid being bullied, he would want to stand up for that kid.
Yeah. Do you think these people are in favor of bullying trans kids?
I think that's what they are currently doing.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know if they're like if that's how they think of themselves. My issue with this whole thing is that like I would love to talk to some of those people and say, what do you think is happening? Because there's so much propaganda out there.
There is.
I think like they think, oh, they're teaching kids to have sex. No, they're teaching grade 8 kids that trans people exist and non-binary people exist. And if that seems to have whipped up all of this issue, like obviously they have incorrect information, and I would love to talk to them and find out where we agree. I have Muslim friends, I have Christian friends, I have atheist friends. And like, if you can just sit down and talk about something, we all have similar fundamental values of caring about each other.
Yeah, the dialogue is so important, I find, and I mean, I know Twitter's not real life, but and again, I think I'll say both sides. Even saying sides reduces things because there's a multitude on this side and that side. I mean, just take the Christian-Muslim divide on the other side.
Yeah.
Clearly, they have different ideas of who Jesus is.
Yeah.
But they seem united on this side. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, dialogue is so important, I believe, and it seems like there's a lot of people that just want to retreat to their side, put their hands over their ears, and not talk.
And the worst part is, like, there are many problems that we all need to come together and solve. Like, children are really struggling in schools. I'm in a bunch of like online communities for teachers. I'm not a teacher myself, but I am a math tutor. Okay. And like, for example, like the boys are getting left behind right now, post-pandemic. And it's like, why do we all have to be here screaming about like 2 lines of curriculum in grade 8 when perhaps like all these people, all these man hours could be put into helping something?
Sure.
But they're here, so we have to be here.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. My name's Peter, by the way.
I'm Cass. Nice to meet you.
Sorry, Cass?
Cass, yep.
Okay, Cass, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
We're meeting here?
Sorry?
We're meeting here?
I don't know.
Peter Van on YouTube.
Oh, I just plowed you over. I was following people too.
Go! Chase your dreams! Find your passion! Don't get confused because authority is being enforced on you! Remember, we are very talented, skilled people. And you are not alone. This time will also pass. And we will get our rights. And at the last, a message to the policymakers. A message to the policymakers. Request from parents.
Stand up for love! Stand up for love! Stand up for love! Stand up for love!
Stand up for love! Stand up for love! Stand up for love! Stand up for love! Stand up for love! Stand up for love!
Stand up for love! Stand up for love!
Tell me about the sign, no space.
Stand up for love! Stand up for love! Stand up for love!
Be careful.
Stand up for love!
I'm just curious, I'm talking to people on both sides. Your sign speaks for itself. Sorry?
Sign speaks for itself.
Okay. Do you think it's important that we have dialogue on this issue?
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell me about the sign.
Speaks for itself.
Okay. But no dialogue?
Not here right now. This is not the place.
Where's a good place to have dialogue?
Somewhere where there is not threats of violence.
Okay.
Somewhere
Am I
where
threatening violence or someone else?
you're not welcome here with cameras on our faces.
Not really on your face, it's beside my face and out in a public area. I mean, I'd like to chat.
We would be happy to chat in a controlled environment. Protest is not a place for interviews.
Okay.
No more hate! No more hate! No more hate! No more hate!
You think this protest on the other side is hateful?
No more hate! No more hate! No more hate!
No more hate! No more hate! No more hate!
Doesn't rhyme, but I like the poetry. But maybe that's part of the point.
No, that's part of the joke,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Roses are red, violets are blue, some of those rhyme, but not this one.
exactly. Yeah, you get it.
Can you tell me a little bit why you're here today?
This is why I'm here, you know? It's bad enough that as a non-binary person, like, I have to be a gender 301 professor for literally everyone I meet all day. But like, then, you know, it's like stuff like this nonsense. It's like, the trans agenda is just living our lives, you know? It's just living our lives.
Oh, lives.
You know?
Okay, yeah.
Like, I've got stuff to do. I don't want to be here on a Wednesday morning, but
I guess it is important that you're here, or you felt it was.
yeah, absolutely.
What's the danger of a protest like this one here, where, according to them, they're in favor of, I guess, parental rights, where many of them are Muslim Christians who feel that, I guess, their faith is different than or their faith has something to say that's different about the gender stuff that they're being taught in school.
So
what do you say to that?
I come from a faith background. I actually took a lot of theology, and their understanding of that theology is honestly very limited. I could get into theology arguments. I'm not going to, but the danger is that gender-affirming care literally saves lives.
What is gender-affirming care exactly? I hear that term a lot, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's such a wide spectrum. It's everything from for adults, because no one is talking about surgeries for kids. For adults, it could include hormones. I'm someone who has transitioned without doing hormones, but for kids, it's as simple as using the name that they want to be called, using the pronouns that are their pronouns, right? That is also gender-affirming care, respecting who they say they are and loving your kids for who they are.
Do you think parents have the right to know if their child, especially a younger child that's under, say, 16, has chosen a different name or a different pronoun to be used in school?
Well, it says a lot that despite being only about 13% of the population, 40% of homeless youth are queer or trans. So that speaks to a real problem with safety. Children are risking their lives if they come out to parents that don't support them, either through becoming homeless. Queer youth have 14 times the risk of developing substance abuse disorders. 40% to 50% of trans youth.
Because their parents weren't supportive of their choice?
Yes. If trans kids have one supportive adult in their lives, they're 40% less likely to attempt suicide. So it's a safety issue. It is literally a matter of life or death. So if kids don't feel safe talking to their parents about a queer identity, then that is a problem for that parent. That's something that they're doing wrong.
So if a parent has a child in school, and that child, I guess, is coming out as trans, doesn't that parent have a right to know? Because as you say, they're at a higher risk of suicide, so if the parent cares about their child, shouldn't they know that they're now statistically at a higher risk of suicide?
I mean, children also have rights, and that's the issue. I'm a parent myself, so I'm definitely I'm struggling with the fact that I have an 11-year-old who doesn't talk to me about stuff. But at the same time, I want what's best for her, right? And so, and she is also a human being with rights that deserve to be recognized.
Sure.
So the balance needs to be on doing what's best for the kids. Because the consequences of not protecting their safety are literally they die.
Okay, yeah, in some cases, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, would you agree, with your 11-year-old, she doesn't have, unlimited or full rights as an adult? You get to set her you get to set her bedtime, how much dessert she eats, maybe what she watches. You as her mom get to decide certain things that she doesn't get to decide.
So I'm her parent. I'm non-binary. I am not her mother. I am her parent.
Okay.
There's a difference between telling my kid how much screen time she can have and telling her who she is. I don't get to tell her who she is.
Okay.
So I get to set limits around, having healthy boundaries around technology or having healthy interactions with people. But I don't get to tell her her gender. I don't get to tell her who she wants to spend time with, who she's attracted to. I don't get to determine that for her.
Now let's suppose, I want to use your daughter. Let's say you have a child, and that child is trans. And let's say that the political environment is different, and it's the right-wing people that are running the schools, and your trans child has decided that they're no longer trans. Should you as a parent have a right to know that they made that change?
You know what? That's a hypothetical I'm not interested in getting into. I don't want to get into the weeds of hypotheticals. I'm here to deal with the situation that exists.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I appreciate the time. Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff of YouTube, for that comment. I'm solo today, so it's difficult to read comments and talk to people, so I do see some coming in. I appreciate the comments, but can't really respond to them all, but happened to notice that one from the Sheriff of YouTube. Appreciate it.
Trans kids have a higher rate of suicide because of parents not letting them go for gender affirming either like medications or even just the bare minimum of respecting their gender. And by allowing trans kids to be trans kids, you allow them to also be adults.
Become happy adults.
Become happy adults eventually. Yeah. I was talking to someone else here, and I mean, she was rhyming off some statistics about how trans kids, or actually maybe trans adults, are statistically much more likely to be homeless or suicidal, that kind of thing. So that's sort of what you're concerned about.
Yeah, I want like human rights for the fullest for all trans people, and right now it's a really scary time where people are just trying to erase their existence, trying to make it seem like it's a new thing, it's a Gen Z thing to be trans, but trans people have always existed throughout all of human history, and to try to pretend like they don't is just pure evil, because you're denying the existence of people who exist.
Now, yeah, a couple things there. You said rights for all trans people. Do you need children as well? Like,
yeah.
So do children have the same full rights that adults do in general?
No.
So there's some limitation on children's rights.
Yeah, and I think that trans kids should have the right to be themselves. I believe that medical transition shouldn't happen until you're 18, because I think that when you're 18, you should be allowed to do more permanent things. If you can't have a tattoo at 16, I don't think that you should be able to do any permanent things at 16.
But also HRT isn't permanent.
HRT isn't permanent.
What's HRT?
Hormone replacement therapy.
Okay.
So if a kid were to start estrogen or testosterone as a child, that's fully
hormone blockers.
That's fully reversible.
Do you think parents have the right to know if that's happening?
I think that parents who are going to do more harm to their children by knowing don't have the right to know.
How do we know which parents those are?
The child should be able to choose. The child
will
should
know if it's a safe place or not.
The child should have the ability to consent to who knows their identity. And if their parents are going to deny it, they shouldn't have to stick up with their bigotry.
Okay, so if I had a child that wanted to take hormone replacement therapy, so I would have a right to know, but only if I was a safe person. If I wasn't a safe person,
it's up to the kid.
So let's say my kid is 12. Does she get to decide if I'm a safe person?
Yes.
Okay.
She decides and no one else.
Okay, what if she's 10?
Yeah. She decides and no one else.
6?
Yep.
4?
3? I think that a child should have the right to choose who they want to be.
So you could have a child who's verbal, is 4 years old, could actually consent to a medical intervention, and you don't think their parents should know?
I don't think a 4-year-old would be able to find medical intervention.
I don't think that they'd be able to conceptualize the idea of gender.
Okay, 6 or whatever that is. Like,
if a parent is going to deny this person's safety by telling them that their existence is not valid, by telling them that if they're one of these people that hate trans people, they shouldn't have to disclose that information with their parents. If there's a teacher or an adult or a therapist that sees the gender dysphoria in this child and says that what will make them safer is potentially gender, like HRT, gender affirming care, whether it be HRT or just changing your pronouns, getting a haircut, that kind of thing, that is up to the child.
Okay, I think I understand where you're coming from. You mentioned tattoos earlier. You said like a child shouldn't be able to consent to a tattoo.
No.
Okay.
Legally they can't until they're 18.
Until they're 18, okay.
I just want to remind you, we have the media liaison to handle media requests. So if you feel like anybody is bothering you, any people who are posing as independent journalists, you do not have to answer their questions. You do not have to engage with them. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah. We're just trying to educate him.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
tattoos. So a child can't consent to a tattoo, let's say. Why can't they decide to get a tattoo?
Because it's permanent. And gender is not. Gender is an ideology that you should be allowed to change however seems fit. And that doesn't always mean medically.
Sometimes it's a haircut.
Sometimes it's just a change of pronouns.
Sometimes it's your friends calling you the right name.
Being trans looks different for everyone, and I think that more acceptance of trans people will allow kids to know when they are trans, rather than this idea of forcing kids to be trans. By giving them the education and the knowledge, you give them the power to be whoever they want to be.
They're not going to know who they are if they don't have the language.
I've been trans my whole life, and I didn't have the words to be able to explain it until I was in my 20s. And I was depressed, I was suicidal, and I didn't know why. I didn't know why I was so upset until I found the power of like queer community and being myself. And if I had found these words and known these things when I was a child, I don't think I would have medically transitioned as a child, but if I had started testosterone as a child, my life would be very different. And I would have just spent more time living as my true self, being happier.
Sounds like it was a rough go for you.
Yes.
Being a trans for a lot of trans people.
Being a trans kid without support, without the language to be able to support yourself it's
dangerous.
It's fucking dangerous.
Were your parents supportive?
No, they didn't know until a couple years ago. They were supportive more recently, but as a kid, it was a lot of, you have to wear a dress, you have to look like a girl, dress like a girl, and I didn't know why I didn't want to.
That's got to be tough to be going through that. It's got to be tough to go through that and then not have the support of your parents. It's got to make things more challenging. I know we're getting personal here, and obviously you don't need to answer, but what's your relationship like now with your parents?
My parents have educated themselves a lot. They know a lot more trans people. They understand what being trans is, and I've recently come out to my parents, and they have been supportive. Yeah. And so it was a very big deal for me because I've seen their growth, and if I hadn't seen that growth, I wouldn't have ever been comfortable telling them. I would have just let them believe that I was their daughter because it would do less harm. But being able to live freely as myself and being able to be a non-binary trans person around my parents has just improved the relationship. I don't feel like there's any barriers between us anymore. They get to see who I really am, and I feel like that's only made our relationship better.
And on an opposite note, my parents don't know me on a deep level, and they probably never will, because I know that I don't feel safe doing that, and that affects my life greatly, and it affects their life because they'll never know me for who I really am. They'll only know what I let them know, and it creates a huge barrier.
And again, I realize we're getting personal. Do you think, for you, that your parents don't support, and for you, when your parents didn't support, but now they do you think they were motivated by hate in those days?
I think they were motivated by misinformation.
Yeah, I think they just didn't know. And my parents grew up in the church, and they knew what they were told their whole lives, and they had the education they have, and
they don't know trans people.
They don't know trans people, and the trans people they know are through word of mouth by me, and the only reason they've been able to respect it somewhat is because they have me as a kid, and who provided the education, and so they've become a smidge better.
Do you think it's possible that some of these people aren't actually motivated by hate?
I don't know how you couldn't be.
Yeah.
Okay, but your parents weren't, you said. They were confused.
No, they were motivated by hate from misinformation.
Yeah, the misinformation is hateful.
Any idea that
But they didn't hate you personally, did they?
They didn't know I was trans.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They hated trans people. They thought trans people shouldn't exist until I showed them the beauty of queer joy and showed them that trans people should exist, and they met trans people, realized they're just regular people whose gender doesn't affect anyone else but themselves, and have learned to like love and support people from all walks of life. They were always supportive of like gay people, but never truly supportive of trans people. And so it wasn't, I don't know, I feel like it's just that quick to like love everyone once you realize that they're not a threat. And I think that so many of these people are being misinformed that trans people are threats to their children, whereas all we're trying to do is give them the power to be themselves. And these people, if they don't realize that by denying their kids the access to trans education, they might be killing their kids. They might be leading them into a suicidal like ideology. They might be leading them to like never talk to them again. And I think that that's way more dangerous.
It's sad for the kid, but it's also sad for the parents. They'll never know their kids, and they won't have a relationship with who they really are.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. Like, I've got 4 children, and I've got reasonably good relationships with all of them.
But if they told you they were trans, would you have a good relationship with them?
I hope I still would.
Would you accept them?
Have you ever asked them if you feel like if you're a safe place for them to tell you that?
Explicitly, but
why not?
My youngest, she's almost 15, and then my eldest is 20. So at the very minimum, all of my kids have at least 15 years of getting to know me, getting to know what I'm about, getting to know how much I love them and care for them. Starting when they were babies, changing their diapers, taking them for walks, playing with them. So even, I mean, I don't agree with my kids on certain things, but we still have that relationship. I know, and to me that's a blessing, and it's something I care for, and I know it's hard to maintain, and I know that not every parent has that. And even I don't have that as fully as I might like to have it. So I feel the pain of an estranged relationship with one's parents. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys talking. You guys shared some and I say you guys.
Yeah.
You were very vulnerable. You shared some things that are clearly painful. I'm so happy to hear that you got through a suicidal period in your life. I think a lot of people, trans or not trans, struggle with dark thoughts. So I'm happy to see that you're here, alive and well. I also thank you for talking to me despite the fellow in the vest coming and warning him. I think it's important that we have dialogue.
It's important that we have people protecting us as well. They were checking in on us and making sure we were safe because this situation could have not been safe.
That's perhaps true. Didn't appreciate the aim of the camera, but it is what it is.
They just didn't want to be filmed, and that's their prerogative.
You know what? And as I talk to people don't want to be filmed. Move on. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for talking.
You too.
I like your shirt. Thank you. Sisterhood, not sisterhood.
Right?
Tell me about that. What does that mean exactly?
You don't know what that means?
I can sort of guess, like cisgender.
Cisgender, not, yeah, we're all sisters. Okay. All of us.
Okay.
Not just the sisters.
Okay.
Yes.
Who are you? Sorry?
Who are you? Who are you filming for? Okay, our people don't want to be filmed. Ask because we don't want to film our protesters. You put us in danger. Do you not film?
Sisterhood, non-sisterhood. Yeah, I get to play on words. I lost my train of thought. So does that include brothers as well?
Of course it does.
Sorry?
Of course it does.
Okay, so it's sisterhood.
For hate, no space for hate, no space for hate, no space for hate.
Is it okay if
Are
we
you the
don't
neo-Nazi
record
that
right now?
we're told comes and is going to
Sorry, I
dox?
can't hear you. Sorry?
Are you the neo-Nazi who's going to dox us?
Am I a neo-Nazi who's going to dox you? No.
Oh, great. I love hearing that.
We're trying to keep this pathway clear, so if you're here, could you go up on this? Could you come up here? So that the pathway is clear? Would that be fine?
Sure. We'll just move along. It's fine.
That would be awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
No space for hate.
I can tape it on there for you.
Why don't you want me filming?
No
Why don't
space
you want-
for hate. No space 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 for hate. No.
Stupid.
Guys,
Not sure if you're able to see what was going on there, but I guess they didn't. The organizers didn't want being filmed. They had people in yellow vests, just making sure that people weren't getting filmed.
I feel like I'm too short for
And there's a guy who decided to put a flag in my camera. Why won't you let people talk to people on film?
We're not allowed. The police asked us not to.
The police did.
Yeah.
The police asked you.
Because they're gonna leave. Like this side's leaving, and then we're all staying here, and then we can. Because
Then you can film?
Yeah.
Okay, so the police asked you
To wait until they left.
Okay. Now I'm
Because-
asking why I can't. There's people in vests who didn't want me talking to certain
Oh, because
people.
we even though most of us are on this side, we have to stay neutral until they're
Okay.
gone. So there's not an uproar, and they respect us until.
Okay. Maybe I'm
for
confused because
safety.
you're wearing a vest and so is the other woman there. Maybe you guys are with different groups. I don't know, but she seemed really upset that
I'm
I
my
was
own
from.
person.
You're
so
your own
I don't
person.
really
Okay.
care. Yeah.
I was making assumptions basically on you both wearing vests.
Well, I
but-
work at Social Development Center, so I can do whatever I want.
Okay, that sounds good.
Pretty much everybody should be
Yes.
able to do whatever they want.
I mean,
and talk to whoever they want.
Right, I'm gay, but I don't force that on my kids, right? Like, yes, like kids grew up in a gay household, but that's my family's business. It's not everybody else's business, right? You know, and I don't like they don't have to tell their friends if they don't want to. I don't force that on them. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah.
No, not exactly. Just a YouTuber. Just talking to people on both sides, sort of why they're out today and what their message is. So let me ask you, why are you out today?
Mostly curiosity.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
sort of why I'm out there.
Want to see. I want to see the real reactions on the ground.
Okay.
Just like you. I've been talking to people myself.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you? I was talking to someone. They happen to be on this side, but not that it matters. What you see online and on Twitter and in the news is often very like over the top. But talking to real people, I think, is important to sort of get out and just look another human being in the eye and see where they're at and what they believe and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And what I've been doing is, this is a sanctioned event. There is a permit,
right?
Okay, for a peaceful protest. We that's our constitutional right. I've been telling people that are facing their signs at the opposition that if you fight them, you become like them.
Yeah, that's.
And you don't want to be like them. You want your agenda to win.
Yeah.
The best way to win is to push your agenda and ignore them. And what I've been doing is asking the people when I'm done telling them that, don't fight them, turn your back on them.
Yeah.
When I look across there and see all those signs facing at us, and I look at your sign, I see them.
Right.
Please turn your back on them and turn your sign around. let your voice be heard to the sympathizers.
Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think what was happening there a few minutes ago was one of this woman in the vest, I guess, was identifying me as a problematic YouTuber or something like that. One of her compatriots asked me if I was, I think she had said it jokingly, but am I a Nazi that's going to dox people? I said no, which of course I'm not. Not a Nazi, nor am I going to dox people. But I think I've been identified as a troublesome person here as far as they're concerned. Asking too many questions. Now, in fairness, there was quite a few people that were willing to talk on the, I guess we call it the counter-protester side. So we'll make our way through the protest side and see what's going on there.
اطلع برا يا لطي اطلع برا يا لطي تعال جاي No gay. No gay. Children, you need love. No gay. Gay is out. نريد أن نعيش بخير وسلام. No gay.
How many children do you have?
I have four. This is a problem. This is a problem. You need to clean. Everything you need to clean.
How are you doing? Can I ask you about your sign and why you guys are out today? What brings you out?
So today we want our kids to stay kids. We want them to enjoy their childhood. We don't want to impose anything on them. We are not haters. We support everyone. Everyone is free to do whatever he or she wants. But our kids are something else. Don't come close to them. Let them enjoy playing. Let them enjoy life without
Childhood.
They are still young enough to choose or to do any consent. That's why they cannot consent at this stage. We are still very little. Let them enjoy life, and later on they decide when they have the consent when they are 18. Then this is how things will go. But at this age, they are little. You cannot impose because children can be changed the way you change them. You can just impose stuff and they will follow you. So we don't want them to think of stuff that are not on their mind originally.
I see you have a little one sleeping there.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not in school. Do you have other children that are in school?
Yeah.
How many children
they are
do you
not
have?
in school today. They are at home.
I see.
So we have two other boys, and we just want to support. And I want them to be, as I said, free and kids, just kids, without anything imposed. We're coming here to learn. We're coming for education.
I've talked to a lot of people here today, and many people are here in part because of their faith. Does that apply to you? Does your faith? Yeah, like their religion or faith.
It's the faith. The faith is something supplementary.
Okay.
The main issue is kids. Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying that our religion or Muslim or Christianity they allow this type of behaviors, but this is not the main concern here. The main concern is to protect our kids, keep them safe, and let them decide when they are adults enough to decide. Don't let them decide when they are just kids, because kids, they don't know what they are doing. They have their unconscious is like dominant on their character.
And one more thing, I am an educator, and I know that kids are like a sponge. They just absorb anything. So if a kid like 5 or 4 years old, if you tell them, go, you are a girl, you're not a boy, you're a girl, not a boy, involuntarily he will start thinking, okay, I'm a girl. So why? There's no point of that.
When my kids were little, they would say they're a dinosaur or an elephant or a cat.
This is a kid. This is the kid what he thinks.
That's fine to say. Of course.
It's very hard.
They're just playing.
Very hard.
But I don't turn them into a cat.
Yeah. It's very hard to tell him choose if you are a male or female. Why? Why you are involving him?
What is it?
Why you are involving him in this big subject? You know. So
there's people that think that this protest is about hate.
No. We don't hate anyone. This is a freedom country. Okay, everyone has the right to become whatever he wants. It's not about hate. It's not about grudge. It's just about to be safe from like behaviors that is very early to be implemented on kids.
It's fine to have their
That's
community. It's fine.
We don't hate anyone.
It's fine to have their support. It's fine to have their community. They're free to do whatever. Everyone is free, but don't make it part of education. It's not part of education. That's it.
You go to school to learn sciences, mathematics, English, not sexuality. You know. So this is not proper.
Even at a certain age, they learn about their organs. They learn about how giving birth, everything related. We're fine with that.
That's science.
That's science. That's nature. We are with nature. That's it.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
What a blessing it is.
Thank you very much.
We as parents need to protect our children from gender ideology and sexual orientation. And the parents, the only single and
Am I in trouble?
No, I follow you on social media.
Good to meet you, yeah. Well, I'm just talking to people here. What brings you to Kitchener today?
What brings me to Kitchener is I'm standing up for families. I'm standing up for families' rights, their faith, their belief, and men are men and women are women. I don't want my grandchildren indoctrinated by liberal ideology.
Well said. I almost don't have a question to ask. There's people on this side here. I've spoken to some of them, and they say that a lot of people on this side are motivated by hate. Now I don't see it. I've talked to a lot of families here, young kids, people of different faiths.
We love everyone. There is no hate. Only love. Jesus is love, and he loves everyone.
You know, I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I don't care what you do in your personal life. I don't care how you identify. I just don't want you teaching my children that it's okay to identify like that.
Well, people have
I don't want the schools keeping things a secret from the kids.
I saw your sign. That's what I find.
The parents have the right to know what's going on. They're not old enough to vote. If you're not 18, you're not old enough to vote, you're not old enough to drive a car, you're not old enough to decide which gender you want to be. If you want to do that after 18, go ahead. You're free to choose. But as a child, no. I just don't agree with it.
Can you hold up your sign? It says, no secrets. Okay, very good. Thank you. So, what do you mean by that? I can guess what that means. I mean, what's that referring to as far as this protest is concerned?
As far as I think, what I heard is teachers have been saying to keeping secrets at school, not telling the parents that the children have, or a child has decided to identify as a male, as a female, as whatever, and no secrets. There should be no secrets. I was raised to believe no secrets.
My sense, I have 4 children, I mean they're growing now, and I know a lot of parents, and unfortunately there's a very, very small number of parents that might harm their child, but it is exceedingly small.
Yeah.
The vast majority of teachers, counselors, principals are very good people, but there's a small amount that might harm children.
I agree.
My sense is although both are small, there's more likelihood that it's going to be a non-parent that's going to harm a child, not a parent.
Right.
So as soon as you start having secrets, I think that's very dangerous. So I agree. Like we should not, our educators should not be keeping secrets from us as parents.
Side switch, that's Trudeau's crowd over there.
What?
That's Trudeau's crowd over there.
That's Trudeau's crowd, yeah.
So I didn't catch your name.
Karen.
Karen. Good to meet you in person, Karen. Thank you for calling. Yes.
Was there another fella here earlier doing this?
Maybe. I'm just here by myself today, but...
Peter Van Ort. Look him up on YouTube. He's from Guelph.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I'm going to be on the radio tomorrow. I did an interview earlier, but I can't find the fellow.
Yeah,
I don't know what radio station.
Make sure you get her to subscribe. So.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I do, yeah.
You're good? Can I ask you why you're here today?
Huh?
Why are you here today?
Oh, yeah. This program.
I see.
Yeah. My family are.
Good to see you.
Okay, thank you.
How are you? Good. Can you tell me, thanks for showing your sign, can you tell me why you're here today?
So we're here to say we love and respect everyone. However, if there is a different ideology that might impact the natural way, the way everyone is, then we don't want this to be educated in school. I do love and respect everyone, no matter how they think and they act. But when it comes to implement a different idea that's different from our religion's facts that we are actually believe, then at this point that is touching our main thing. So even my 3 kids, I'm teaching them that we should love and respect even people from the other side who thinks about the trans, they call it with their simple words, the rainbow people. So we love them, we respect them, we deal with them. If there's someone in school, do believe in that, we do not hate them. However, is it okay to be like them? As a religious person, it's not. As our God's telling us, it's not. So that's the main thing. I'm really heartbroken when I see the other side thinks that we hate them and we are against them. That's not true. We're just saying if it's going to be something as a part of the society, the diversity, we do respect that. However, it shouldn't be a part of the education for our little kids because it's very confusing at their age to make a choice whether they're going to be at a certain gender or so. That's all. Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a good day.
Find a Mark 16, 17 Christian. I made a new denomination.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. We don't give driver's license to a minor. We don't let people driving on the highway. Why? Because of safety. Because we know that it is not appropriate. We don't give permission. I will ask education administrators.
Let's go! No, I'm a student. I get unlimited. But once I'm not a student anymore, I get free.
So, we want to make the government realize and the board realize that parents are integral part of the education system of a family and a country. This is not inclusion, this is exclusion. So you are excluding parents, you are excluding faith, and you are excluding adults from the children. What are you doing?
One thing that's very different about the two sides, well actually there's a few things. There are noticeably many more children on this side, whereas the other side, I don't know that I noticed any, or if I did, very few. I don't know. I don't want to say zero, but very few. On this side, there are people. There's a dad with feeding his kid. There's moms with their children. Lots of children here, school-age children, younger children. We're on that other side, for whatever reason, almost no children, if any. I guess the other thing that's noisy.
I'd like to mention that around 11 o'clock after our speakers, there will be more trips to Victoria Park.
Like the Lord of the Flies versus the Parents, something like that, yeah. It seems that way. I guess the other thing I noticed about this side, and I tend not to put too much stock in this kind of thing, but I know our mainstream media does, but there seems to be much more ethnic and racial diversity on this side as compared to the other side. Hi there, how are we doing? What do we got here?
I have a sign here.
We have a sign. Is it a good sign?
It's a good sign. What I find funny about the sign is that wait, is this getting posted online?
We're live streaming right now.
Oh boy. I find it funny that because like this is a value neutral sign, so I'm able to blend in with both sides.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't specify who the wicked are, but
interesting. Yeah.
And this allows me to just go around and look for all. It just allows me to go around and look at both perspectives.
So you've been talking to both sides?
Essentially, yes.
Yeah. What have you noticed a difference in mood, or like what differences have you noticed other than their message?
I would say the biggest difference is that I would say like when I talk to people here, they're a bit more open-minded, and I would say a lot more moderate. The people over on that side, I would say when I tried talking to them and I tried to ask them difficult questions to see if they would budge in their position, they just were extremely stubborn. The right in general is willing to like think about these issues on a nuanced manner. Like one example was like what age. So I asked like a lot of conservatives here whether like trans people should be allowed to exist. Like there are probably people who genuinely believe they are born in the wrong body, and as a result, what show is this?
It's just a YouTube channel.
Oh, what's it called?
It's called Peter Van Ort. That's my name.
Ah, Peter Van Ort?
Van Ort.
I see. But like the people, But essentially, I asked them whether like trans people exist and whether what we should do about them, and then they said we should allow them to exist, but we shouldn't have children transition very early. And I thought that was a pretty reasonable take. I asked some liberals, however, what they think the minimum age should be for transitioning. They said whatever age it is, and I just like asked 3, 2, 9 months, 3 months.
Okay, you got to look at the stream. Like, I asked almost the identical question. It was like a countdown.
Yeah.
And they basically said, I think I got to like 2, and they said, well, they wouldn't be able to talk at that point. But
yeah, well, the people I talked to, I got all the way down to birth.
Okay.
Well, and even like. And like when I actually talked to an LGBT reporter. They're a lesbian, and I asked them about these questions. They seem to be like rather neutral on the topic. I asked them like, when do you think is a correct age for people to transition? And they said 16 or 17. And I asked them when it was correct for them to, when they should start learning about it. And they said like 9th grade, which is much more lenient than what Florida is doing. Which is a lot less lenient than what Florida is doing. They're doing it up to the 3rd grade. So I would say that like in general, like the conservatives have a more nuanced take on this matter. But that being said, I enjoy talking to both sides, and I think that both sides. I think it's good for both sides to have a conversation. Though I would say that like in general, what the conservatives want is considerably more moderate and more sane than what the liberals want. And I think what we might fear the most is that if this keeps going on for a long period of time, the reaction is going to be insane because the left isn't having enough children. The left isn't having enough children to replace themselves. The right absolutely is, and we're importing lots and lots of Muslim immigrants and immigrants from all over the world who more align with what the right believes on social values. And the problem is, eventually, if the education system breaks, because that's the main thing that's allowing them to recruit more kids. That's why they're so important. They're so like focused on the education system. It's their only way of getting more minds to their side. And if this education system breaks, and I think it will in the next few years, then I would say there might be a severe overreaction. The thing about the left is that they cannot fight. We saw them try and fight. That was Chaz, and they failed.
That was what?
That was Chaz. It was a rebellion out in the States. Yeah, Capitol Hill. But the right, they have the police, they have the military. They're gonna, if the right ever just decides to go full psycho, it's gonna be very, very difficult.
Yeah,
I would say.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I certainly don't want that, but I get your point. Yeah.
I think that I think that like people are getting mad, and the more that the left tries to push, the madder that people are going to get. And while I would like to ensure the continuation of a secure and stable society, I can't say it's the right that are the aggressors here.
Right. Wow. Well said. It's almost like you've been listening to my stream. I was talking about some similar things. One thing I noticed is on this side, there's just so many more children. In fact, I don't know that I noticed any children on the other side. Maybe there was 1 or 2, I don't know. But here, there's lots of large families out, kids in strollers. I saw a dad feeding one of his many kids, I think. So yeah, you make a good point. The other thing I noticed, and I don't like to necessarily talk about this type of thing because I think it's a relatively unimportant detail, but for what I know the left likes to talk about this,
I'm just seeing the comments come up. It's quite funny. Okay. Notice the parents are not trans Canadians.
There's a lot more ethnic diversity on this side, it seems.
It seems, yeah. I actually mentioned this to the other side, and I said, I find it funny that the right is generally anti-immigration. To be fair, they're more like anti-illegal immigration. And my parents came here legally. Everyone else should as well. However,
where did your parents come from, if I may ask?
They came from China. They lived through the horrors of the Cultural Revolution. They know what communism does to a country. But what it is that what I find funny is that the left, they tend to be pro-immigration, but the people they're importing are not agreeing with them. The right, they want more limited immigration. Now, if I was the right, I would be making lots of alliances with the ethnic minorities who are tired of the left. I know tons of Hispanics who are tired of being pandered down to. Right. Ethnic minorities are not some poor brown mass that needs to be saved by the white saviors. Yeah. We are independent, strong people who can fend for ourselves. We don't need affirmative action. We don't need affirmative action. Yeah. We just need
to be protected from yourself. I agree.
Yes, we just want the ability to thrive in the same way that everyone else does. We do not it's completely ludicrous that they want to imply to us that we cannot succeed in this society if they do not like do affirmative action or like give us preferential hiring practices. You're just implying that white people are superior.
Exactly, yeah.
Just in a different way.
They call that the soft bigotry of low expectations.
Exactly.
What it says is, well, I mean, I used to go to Waterloo, University of Waterloo, around the corner here, and they had a number of job postings where I can't remember if you needed to be black specifically, but certainly not white. And what that implies is, well, the white people are smarter and more capable.
That implies that black people will not get that position unless the white people are banned. Like, what the hell? Like, imagine being a black person and then being told that you are never going to succeed unless we allow you to. Like I could literally imagine someone like back in the Ku Klux Klan saying, "Oh, you will never succeed in this society unless the gracious white man allows you to."
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, man? Like, that is so demoralizing. If I got hired for a job and I knew that I only got into the job because of the color of my skin, then I would just feel ashamed. And even if I was good enough for the job, I would never know that because I would always have the insecurity that I only got the job because of my skin color. I want to be recognized for who I am. I am more than my skin color. I am a proud Canadian. I immigrate here, and unfortunately, I am more patriotic than so many Canadians who live in this country.
Wow, I think you got a lot to say.
I do.
I wanted to ask you about your sign. So it's a Bible verse, it's from Psalm 37.
But the Lord shall laugh at the wicked, for he knows that their day is coming.
Yes.
I originally made this as just a sign, and I made it a bit generic because I wanted to reuse the sign in case I wanted to go to another protest. However, what I found interesting is that it turned out to be a very neutral sign because I didn't define who the
wicked are. Yes.
Who the wicked are. Oh, as for the,
I was curious. Like, there's a lot of people here that are here, at least in part because of their faith tradition. To what degree does that apply to you?
I would say I'm here largely because I want to push back against the absolute degeneracy of the West. Even if I am not like religious, right? Even if I was not religious, I can acknowledge that Christian values and Abrahamic values are what made this country great. What made many societies great. We can't just like burn everything down and start over from beginning. And also, I saw a comment that says like Asia's gonna be on top. I guess like there is gonna be more weight headed towards Asia, but I would say China is kind of screwed. Look up their demographic crisis. Look at their housing crisis. Every problem the West has, China has in worse. Like they have a worse housing crisis. They have a worse demographic crisis. Well, they're not having enough kids, and furthermore, what was it? Right, they're not having enough kids. I would say that, unfortunately, the entire world is probably going to go through a sort of dark period, almost. Like it's going
the dark age.
Yeah, I would say we need to. I would say the red states are going to be where the future is headed. Like Texas, Florida, those places are going to be the only places that are not going to be affected. It's going to be, if you want to look up Peter Zeihan, he has some theories about geopolitics. Now, he politically is more lenient toward the left, but I would say that he has some good theories on like how the future might play out. And
well, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm going to keep working through the crowd. Did you want to take my? Do you want to take my details if you want to check out the live stream later?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to.
I would like to be loud and clear. This protest is not a protest of hate. This protest is a protest of love, protest of love for all Canadians. Protest of love Scotland well integrated massive government in our education system to be taught to our beloved children. We need a healthy education for our children, not indoctrination.
So you're James and you're 47 years old?
Before you understand,
You don't look 47 years old.
well,
thank you.
No? You want to tell me about your son?
One of my favorite verses.
Okay.
Submit yourselves unto God, resist the devil, let him free you. Let him flee you, I mean.
Okay, very good. Why do you think that's an important verse for today?
I think there's a lot of divisiveness and polarization going around, and people have forgotten what's important.
So I'm having a little bit of trouble here. A lot of divisiveness and what?
Just a lot of divisiveness and polarization.
I agree, yeah. What do you think we can do about that?
Just gotta come together, stand for what's right.
Would I be correct in assuming that you're a person of faith? Or?
Yes.
Okay. And your faith had something to do with you being here today, I assume?
It's an influence, but I also think it's important to just do what's right. Can't just stand back and do nothing.
Okay, very good. So what message would you have for the people gathered here?
We are all here just to love each other and do right by one another, and this isn't about hate.
Very good. Well, I know your name's probably not James, but thank you, James.
Yeah, no problem.
Take care.
Stop sexualization of our children. Stop making divisions among Canadians. Stop confusion our children. Let our children focus on the academic side of the school activities. Stop making our school and education system like a brutal. My next message is to the Premier of Ontario, Mr. Doug Ford. Mr. Ford, please stop lying to Canadians. I repeat, please stop lying to Canadians. If you really mean to the statement you made regarding indoctrination of our children, why you are not here standing beside us, beside these parents today? Why none of your MPs are here to talk about it? These are the people who voted you, who elected you as their Premier of Ontario. In the past many years that you are Premier, what changes you brought? Why you lie to Canadians? Why you make false statements? Dear parents, we assure you all parents, we will not give up.
That's right. We're only just beginning.
Our peaceful protest will continue until those corrupt politicians made to stop.
That's right.
They need to stop now and go back and repair the damages that they made to Canadian nations.
because there are many people, as we announced that we will end our program at 11, and they are continuously asking us to stop it at here. So therefore we need to just one speaker is requesting me to give him a chance, so we should be patient. Let him speak, and then I will have a couple of words for you later.
Nelson Mandela once said that his secret to success is being the last speaker. Unfortunately, time is of essence, so I'm only going to ask one question and two first the definition of love and my question is out to the people that are protesting this. Why do they insist on using the word hate? Why do they insist on using the word hate? I'm going to define, I think it's the best definition of love there is going.
Does not permanent damage.
Love is patient.
Why are you afraid?
It does not envy.
Children doing ballet, if that's more permanent damage than letting them express themselves.
It is not self-seeking.
Why do you want to control your kids?
It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth.
When you can have children, we might listen.
Always trust.
There's
Always
a middle
hopes,
ground here.
always perseveres. Love never fails.
Right? Like, I'm totally pro-gay. Like, it's just, but they've gone crazy, right? They've gone crazy.
I have gay, queer, lesbian,
I know.
It's not about that.
I know. It's gone way too far.
They're the ones who are making the
The street over here. I know. Who are the haters? The police are holding them back, right?
And we are going to continue our march.
Why are you afraid of queer? You're not afraid.
Lots of my gay friends are here. I have gay friends here on this side. Because they don't want to see naked men walking around the streets of Toronto with erections. They don't want to mutilate children. Right?
They don't want them in the schools either.
Exactly. Have it as a social studies subject when the kids are older, and then talk about gender ideology. Right? Not as a state religion. Right? It's mania. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Some of these union guys, the guy was bragging, 3 of his kids are transitioning. 3 of his kids. I mean,
that's a problem.
A rare medical phenomenon has turned into a fashion trend. You know, trans trenders.
We have volunteers here to support you, to guide you the way. Our volunteers are over here, they are moving now, and all of you put your children's, vulnerables, women's, weaker ones in the center, and boys and
Since our protest is for the rights of kids, we want to give him a chance to talk.
As a 13-year-old boy in grade 8, I believe that my primary focus in school should be on my education. While I respect the importance of diversity and inclusion, I think it's more appropriate for students to explore and understand their own beliefs and identities about sexual preferences and gender identity as we grow older. In my opinion, schools should primarily provide a strong academic foundation, leaving discussions about these topics to happen naturally as we mature. This would allow us to concentrate on our studies without feeling pressured to grasp complex concepts at such a young age.
Thank you, thanks. That is great. That encourages me. That gives me energy. Children, parents, thank you all for attending. I assure you again, this is not our last protest. You will see many protests like this until we stop and remove all the garbage from our education system in Canada.
Assalamu alaikum. My voice is your voice, and I'm just here to say, leave our kids alone. Leave our kids alone. Leave our kids alone. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. See you in Victoria Park.
Everyone, if you could please form a line, the police will escort you over at the far end of the City Hall, okay? Thank you. And God bless you all for coming out. Thank you very much.
Victoria Park? I think so. What brings you by today here? Just defending the rights of children, our kids' future, and as well for the future of the survival of humanity, pretty much. Kids cannot consent when they haven't reached the age of puberty. That is how it's been always, and that's what we want it to be. So children have the right to be children. It's common sense. Everyone knows that.
You have children?
I do.
Yeah, how many children do you have?
I have 4 children myself. So I want them to have a future where they are enjoying themselves as children and not have to be worried about the sexuality and sexualization of adults. Right. It is the adults that are bringing this. And I went to that side, I heard some of their concerns. They're saying, oh, children are afraid to come forward to the parents, which is not true. Those children are abused children. We want abused children to also find the right connections and rights for children for society as well, right? So it's a peaceful protest, as you can see, right? We're not here for hate. We're here for our rights and children's rights. That's pretty much what we're here for. So at the end of the day, I don't remember, my parents fighting for my rights, right? It was something natural, and everyone was in agreement. Why is it in this day and age that children have to be fought for? Our rights for children have to be fought for. So I think that is totally wrong. That I think these people are confused. They don't know what they're here for. We know why we're here for.
I noticed that a lot of them don't want to even talk. Where
they don't.
Here on this side.
They don't. I always see they have their sorry. Oh goodness, what does that word mean?
Okay, let's go.
What does that word mean?
If you don't know, you should look it up.
Yes, yes. There's no fear here.
Love you, God. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Choose one. Have a good day.
It is confusing. It is confusing. This is not really called for. They don't know what they're shouting for. I mean, we don't come out and crush their protest. Right. They had a whole month. They had a whole month to celebrate and be what they are, right? And who told them to come and crash our demonstration, right? Because they don't know what they're doing. They're confused. Yeah. So I feel sorry for most of these people because They have been sexually harassed. They have been molested. They have been brought up in homes which was unfair for them. But for us as Muslims, we bring our children into happy homes, great upbringing, so they're not confused about their sexuality, right? God has told us to be just and kind to everyone, and of course that's including our children.
Right.
So there's no point for this. This is Sodom and Gomorrah. This is bringing back the days of old for society to be angered by God. Why is it, if you ask yourself, right? They have rights, they can protest, right? But they're trying to deny our rights of protesting,
right?
Of protecting our children.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So they're not called for to be here. I was videoing a few of them, and they were super hostile and saying, all kinds of things, right? So I really think, honestly, at the end of the day, there are people who are who have grown up without being children themselves.
Right.
As we know, what the Catholic Church has done to the native children in this country, right? So white children wasn't also exempt. You understand? Right. So they went through a lot of abuse and harassment, and the criminal system as well. We don't punish our kids, in youth detentions and we would rather have them go to programs and rehabilitate. So there's a lot of broken homes in this society from the get-go. And these children, these adults that you see here protesting with the rainbow flags, that is the result of many years of neglect, of many years of this sermon to them. And I feel really bad for them, but they are confused and are, on the wrong side pretty much of the protest. So I pray for them as humans,
For
They're
sure,
accusing us of hating, but nobody is hating at all. Like we're here. Where do they see the hate? This is we don't see like we hate LGBT. We don't see any rainbow with the X on or nothing. It's just children. It's just children's rights.
A lot of families,
a lot of families.
With their kids.
You can actually speak to families if you like as well, right? But you see that we're here for the rights of children. We're not here for anything else. So who told them to counter-protest, right? That's the interesting part. Who told them to go and protest? Because these people, they see us as those who hate them, right? And I think this is confusion as they are confused about many things.
I think so.
Right?
Sir, what's your name?
My name is Abdi Razak. Abdi, short.
Peter.
Peter, nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you, and I appreciate talking.
No worries, man. You do YouTubing or
I do.
blogging?
Do you have your phone? You can type it in if you'd like.
No worries.
Leave our kids alone! 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 Leave our kids alone!
I can't say it in Arabic, but
Leave our kids alone! 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 Leave our
some irony. Crosswalk.
Leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone! Unity is our strength! Unity is our strength! We do not hate! Leave our kids alone! 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 Everybody together, leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone!
Well, we're leaving City Hall now. Just as before we left there, I don't know if I got a really good shot, but it did look like the counter protesters were dwindling in numbers and also in energy. However, the mainstream protesters here seem to be going strong still. It looks like they're assembling in this park. I'll try to get a shot of the crowd because it's hard to get a sense of exactly how many people are here, but it's, I don't know, maybe a few thousand, I don't know. It's probably shouldn't even guess because it's notoriously hard to figure out, but yeah, a lot of people on the balcony and sort of in the surrounding area that weren't even quite in the main protest. I think there were some people who were maybe a little shy to get right in it, but yeah, interesting vibe. Ooh, kid almost fell. You okay, bud? Yeah, like clearly, just based on how people are dressed, the women especially, it looks like there are a lot of devout Muslims here, a lot of Christians, you know, just a lot of people in general, but certainly there's like the different Muslim communities in the area, I think, have been a big part of putting this together. And it seems that a lot of them have brought their children, young children, school-age children, babes in arms even. Very much a family kind of event. as far as I know, the counter-protesters just stayed in that, at the City Hall area, I don't know. I wonder if there's a high place I could get to get a sense of this. I don't know, is this 1,000 people? A lot more coming. There's more people over here. Took me a minute to figure out where I am here on this path. It's like, I think I'm in the smoking section. I think people who smoke have just come over here. Kind of wondered why there's a line of people. But yeah, I guess people are coming out for a smoke break, it seems. How are you? Can I ask you a couple questions about why you came out today?
Actually, we believe that the God created the people as He wants to be, and changing the creation of the God, this is against the nature, against the reality, and it will affect badly on the humanity. People without, when we go with another like LGBT or something, people will not have children. That will affect the reality, and it will affect the population of this earth. And this is against the nature. So that we are here today.
I see, very good. Yeah, it's, I noticed I was talking to protesters on both sides.
Yeah.
And it was clear that one side had lots of children. I see you've got a little girl
there.
Yeah.
She is innocent girl.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know. We don't need anyone to affect her or control her future, her nature, her creation.
So you believe that there is a natural order, God created the earth, God created people, God created a certain way of being, and that when we deviate from that way, that things will go bad for society.
Surely, if you believe in God or not believe in God, this is not the matter, but the matter that, okay, we are created as we are. In the nature, okay, if you go to the sea and do like fishing in crazy, what will happen? Okay, what will happen? You will like destroy the nature of the earth. Okay, if you control with the clouds or in the rivers or doing anything that will affect badly everything in this earth. Leave it as is, and it will know how it's working. It's where it's going to. Leave it as is.
Now, how do you feel? A lot of this has to do with schools and children being taught things in school. What would you say to someone who maybe they don't believe in God, but they want to raise their children as though there's 7 different genders, and they're going to do that on their own, but they're not going to teach it in school? How would you feel about that?
How you prevent your children to smoke if they are under 18? How do you prevent them for taking knives, lighters, alcohol, anything that is dangerous? Because the people at this age are not grown enough. They don't have the conscience enough to know what to do. Okay, leave him until 18 and tell them to control themselves. Do whatever they want by themselves, but don't affect badly or like farming ideas in their minds that, okay, if you encourage a team now or This is marketing. If you encourage any idea, okay, and do a lot of advertisement for that idea, people will think that this is the truth. We will go with this. We will do that. Okay, this is the truth. Other people are on the wrong. And this is why we are here today.
Very good. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know, like, when my kids were little, after dinner, maybe they want to have 2 desserts or 3 desserts or 4 desserts.
Yeah.
But because I love them and I'm their dad, I say, no, you can have 1.
Sure.
Because I know they really want to have more dessert. And I say, well, no, because I love you.
Exactly.
I'm going to limit your choices.
Okay,
Not
exactly.
because I hate them, but actually the opposite, because I love them and I want them to do well, that I'm going to limit some of the choices. And as they get bigger, I want them to be able to make their own choices. So I think...
Exactly. Even the freedom in the life, it's limited. You can open freedom for everyone to do whatever he wants. Even if you go to the highway, there is a speed limit.
Yeah.
It's not allowed for you, even if you are free and want to do whatever you want. Even if you want to do anything by yourself, you're not allowed. It's prohibited. You have to put the seat belt.
Sure. Very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Peter Van Oort.
Yeah, I'm Hassan.
Hi, Hassan. Good to
Hi.
meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just make YouTube videos. I'm just like live streaming this. So
okay.
This kind of thing, I think it's important that we have discussions. I happen to share much of what you believe. I'm assuming that you're a Muslim.
Yeah.
I happen to be a Christian, but I think that
we all share the same culture, with same nature.
Yeah.
We have to defend on this nature.
Right, I agree.
Thank you.
Okay. Hassan, good to meet
Thank you.
again. Okay.
How can we see the
do you have your
recording?
phone with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, go to YouTube. Type Peter. Space. VAN. Space. OO.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, appreciate it. No problem. Good to be here. I was speaking to
my son.
This is your son. Okay.
Yeah.
So your dad dragged you out today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Had no choice?
No, I came. I wanted to.
I see. So why is it important for you? My name's Peter, by the way. What's your name?
Nice, Muhammad.
Muhammad.
Nice to meet you.
Muhammad.
Nice to meet you.
So why come out with your dad? Why not go to school today?
Wouldn't go to school. Because like everywhere you go, you keep just seeing like the gay flag, and there's like no straight people flag, and you keep seeing it everywhere. And then in schools, like you just do it at your house. We don't have to see it everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're okay with people making different choices?
I'm okay, like as long as it's at your house, and then not like showing off people.
Right.
Yeah.
Or teaching children. In
Yeah,
school.
and like why everywhere you go you just see the flag, and you like brainwash the kids.
Well, thank you, Mohammed. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
والله فعلا شربنا احلى مدينه ما لنا
Hey. How are you? Good?
How are you, sir?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm well, thanks.
Good,
My name is Peter. I'm just curious, why did you come out today? I mean, it's a gorgeous day to be in the park, but why are you here today?
So we're protesting for our right and our kid right, you know? Yeah, our kid right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? So you want to
Yeah, like
keep our kids, our choice. Okay, so this is about
our kids, our choice. It's not a government choice, you know?
I see.
Yeah.
You
so
feel the
that-
government is pushing a certain choice on your children in school?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah. So
And
that-
these are your daughters here?
yeah, those I have 5.
You got 5. 5 all daughters? Or 5 kids?
Four daughters and 1 son.
Oh wow, that's a
Yeah.
lot of children. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
Keeps you busy?
Yes, always.
Okay, well, thank you for chatting with me.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
welcome.
bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye bye. Bye. Bye.
You guys have signs as well? Can I see your signs?
Up on your sign.
You got them in folders and everything. Hands off our kids, our choice. Leave our kids alone. Oh, yours is upside down. Hands off our kids, leave our kids alone. Very well done. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Well, if one were to believe the Human Rights Commissioner of British Columbia, this would be what they call a hate-fueled protest. This guy behind me, I don't think he's hate-fueled exactly. Doesn't look very hateful to me. Blowing bubbles. Lots of people out. Seem pretty calm, very family-friendly event. I'm not seeing the hate, really. Well, I think I'm going to make my way back to City Hall, which is the way to my car. I'm curious to see if there's any counter-protesters still there or what they're doing. So I'll keep the stream going a little bit longer here, just as I make my way back. It's interesting, this whole trans ideology business that's been in the news, and I know I pick on the CBC and a lot of you guys get tired of me always talking about the CBC, but I'm kind of a glutton for punishment. I like to check in with them just to see what kind of madness they're promoting at any given time. But yeah, there's been a few pieces out recently, I guess since this business in Saskatchewan and in New Brunswick, where there's parental rights bills or policies that are being passed. And the way the CBC is portraying this is as though it's like a really harmful and detrimental to kids and to people who consider themselves trans. One thing that you may have noticed that came up a lot when talking to the counter-protesters, and this is rhetoric that I hear a lot, or I see a lot, I guess, online, and that is this idea of denying a trans person's existence. And as best I can tell, no one is denying the existence. I think what's happening is, for many of these trans activists, if they're coming, I think. This might be interesting. They're marching this way. Oh, and they've got a trans sidewalk here. So this might be interesting. We'll see what happens here. I'll turn the camera around. Okay, as you can see, it looks like they're turning, so they're not joining the main protests by the looks of it. They're marching down this road over here, saying no space for hate. And yeah, there's a few of them still coming, but a much smaller crowd. Like I said, I think there was a lot of energy from the counter-protesters pretty early, like even before I got set up. I think I got set up around 9:30 or so, but just driving around trying to find parking, I noticed there was a lot of trans flags and things like that.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And yeah, again, I think their energy has kind of dwindled. And I mean, in fairness, I guess the mainstream protesters, we kind of marched to the park there, and I think people are leaving already, but there's many more of them. And again, being a family-friendly event, yeah, that's, I think, pretty much it now. Oh, maybe they are going toward the park. This could be interesting. The police are here, so I don't know if they're I'm going to turn the camera around. Oh, let me turn the camera around. You can say hello. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Are you on your YouTube channel?
I am. We're live streaming right now.
Oh, really?
I mean, there's maybe 7 people watching.
These fuckers doesn't have a like.
No? What do you mean by that? Who are you talking about?
Just, you know, their beliefs is just doesn't make sense. Stop. I'm telling the word.
So yeah, it looks like there's a few police officers up ahead that I think are trying to maybe create some separation because the counter-protesters are moving toward, I guess, the main protest, and they've stopped here. Yeah, I'm not sure how the police deal with this exactly. I mean, I think everyone has the right to protest and be a certain place. So,
No space for hate! 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 No space for hate!
is there space for people who have different opinions than you, would you say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Discussion is really important, and that's not what is happening.
Okay, what's happening?
Well, there seems to be a lot of people miscommunicating ideas.
Okay.
I mean, I lived through the 80s when people gave up on their gay sons and killed them because they didn't care about them. And I feel this is happening as well with our trans kids. So I want to keep those trans kids safe. I actually want to keep every child safe because they deserve their rights as much as I do.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you talk about discussion, and I think it is important that we have a discussion. I talk to a lot of people on the other side, and they say that they're protecting their kids from what they describe as indoctrination. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think anyone's indoctrinating anyone. However, if their kids come out as trans, I hope they love them as much as they are allowed. You know, I really do. You know, because
a lot of them would. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. There was a lot of guys that died in the 80s because of AIDS because people didn't love them.
But AIDS wasn't caused by people not loving them, was it?
I think so.
How so? Isn't it like a
You know,
virus?
sir, I don't want to get into it with you. However, I do support people being able to have their say.
Okay, good. Me too.
And I don't want any kid hurt. And I know kids are committing suicide right now because parents don't love them because they're trans. So, it's just a fact.
Well, thank you for
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Stronger together. Everybody needs to be close together.
Is there another place in the park you guys can go?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm going to suggest anywhere right here because go back, please.
So it looks like the police are trying to keep some separation between both sides, and I think organizers on both sides are encouraging their respective sides to go back to their sides, as it were. It looks like the mainstream protesters kind of moved toward the counter-protesters here, and for the moment here I seem to be in the DMZ with the police, and they seem to be okay with that for the time being. We'll see. So yeah, the police have formed like a line. Sorry? Oh, let me turn the camera around.
Hello. My name is. It's hard for some people.
Hello everyone, listen please.
Which side are you on?
I'm just here taking a video.
Me too. That's
why we're in the DMZ.
What?
You have no kids? No, none of you have kids? No?
Like you guys.
What should I do with mine?
Kids out of school and brought them here?
No, my kids are homeschooled. Yeah, that's the way it should be.
That's literally indoctrination.
Sorry,
you guys are calling, like, you guys
I don't want adults talking to my children about their genitals.
That's
Correct.
the thing that's happening.
That is happening.
It's not
That is. Do you have kids? Are they in school?
I have people that I know.
Oh, you have people that you know with kids.
Your kids
Right
aren't
on.
in school. You have
Hey,
people
okay.
yourself.
Are you going to pay for my kids? Are you going to raise my kids? Did you birth any children? No.
Did you birth any children?
I
No, your
didn't.
wife did.
I stood there with her when she birthed all of our
but you
children.
didn't do any of the
We
struggle.
created them. God gave us a gift of children. Children cannot consent to puberty
I
blockers.
understand that.
Children
At the same
cannot be
time-
transgender.
I understand. Well, they can.
You
be
don't
transgender.
understand that because hate hurts kids. It's just a reality, my friend.
No, the reality is that
if you can't tie your shoes, you shouldn't be able to sever your penis.
That's not a thing.
That's a life-altering decision.
Okay.
They're putting children on
Can you
puberty
let me speak for
blockers.
1 second?
They're trying to block parents from
They're
even
not.
knowing about
Children
it.
cannot receive puberty blockers. Children cannot receive
Incorrect.
surgery. You are incorrect.
Yeah,
That is how
incorrect.
it is.
Redo your research, sir.
I have done my research.
Yeah, check
you
the
are
Soviet
going off of
curriculum.
this
It's creeping
information.
lower and lower and lower.
No.
So how
Children,
old do you think kids need to be before they can consent to puberty?
I mean, I think that with parents' consent, if somebody in the puberty range from 12 to 16 wants to go on puberty blockers, that's fine.
That's
because
child abuse.
puberty blockers.
That's child abuse.
Let me speak for a second. I've let you have your speaking. It is now my time to speak. Puberty blockers. If you stop taking puberty blockers, you can still have your standard puberty that you would have still went
In
through.
your 30s,
puberty,
when you realize you made a mistake,
in your like
you're gonna
early
go through
20s or
puberty at
something?
28 years old, outside of your peers, and feel even more isolated than you ever
You know
did?
what makes trans people feel isolated is all of this hate. Trans people
Where's
have been
the
around.
hate, my friend? Nobody's saying
Turn
negative
around.
things to you.
They are. You guys are literally calling for the eradication of trans people.
No, we're calling for the eradication of education systems, trying to steal parental consent and parental control. That's what we're protesting.
Education.
Interference
You're an
with
adult,
children.
you can make any choice
Education.
you want. Live the way that
Can I
you
love
see
education.
Why can't
You
kids
don't
do
know.
that?
Can I please speak?
Interfere
Just for a little bit. I understand that. At the same time, education is important to let people know that people like this exist. Because what's happening is the education is not there, and then
touches them, they have a right to
It never used to exist.
Oh,
60 years ago, it never
You know why it didn't
existed.
exist? Because Hitler
Here
erased
comes the
and burned
Marshall
every
Hitler.
trans media.
No one's gonna hurt you.
I'm just having a conversation. I'm trying to educate you.
It's dangerous to talk about what we're
I'm
here
very
for.
scared. These people are not
I wasn't really getting you much of a chance to talk.
Yeah, no
so you
worries.
believe there should be an age limit for puberty blockers? I think you're saying yes?
So, okay.
With parents' consent?
Yeah, I'm sort of like on an in-between because I think letting trans children transition early lets trans people be who they are. Putting on puberty blockers and getting on hormones early allows like actual transition to happen before puberty, before like not irreversible but harder things to change happen, like a deep voice for men or that kind of thing. Puberty blockers are one of those things that you can reverse. Like if you get off puberty blockers, you're still able to have the puberty that you would have had based off the gender or sex that you were born as. I'm very flustered. There's a lot going on here. It's stressful. Try to speak my mind and just get like screamed at. Yeah. So basically, like, I think that acceptance is really important because, you know, trans people exist. Trans lives matter.
I've talked to people on both sides.
Yeah, I wanted to do this sort of thing too, so I'm glad somebody's doing
I
it.
think having a conversation is important. because
Exactly.
We can't talk. It doesn't leave much other than yelling or fighting.
Yeah, this back and forth doesn't get the message across on either way. I had a really nice conversation with somebody at the first, like over at City Hall. Somebody on the other side, she was just airing all of her concerns for like this side, why this is bad. And I was just trying to affirm the reasons that she shouldn't be scared of those things.
I think there's a lot of different terms that people have different ideas about.
Of course.
And one of the things that comes up a lot is denying the existence of trans people.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is, very generally speaking, people over here think there's two genders and one gender. People over here think there's more.
Well,
was that a fair way to say?
I think that's a fair assumption of like what the sides are.
I'm trying to get these guys to go home. And part of that is you guys going to build this pavilion. Is that possible?
Like for this whole group to go to the
Because
pavilion?
this is not helping them.
But if we leave, then they're free to spread their message.
No, we're telling them to go home too, as is their organizers. But I don't want to.
So can you guarantee that if we go to the pavilion, that they will leave? Because we're not going to stop spreading our message if they get to still spread theirs. So I worry that
we will wait. If you guys leave, we will stay with that. And maybe we'll put a couple people with you guys just for your safety. But I'll tell them to leave, and I'll stay with this group.
I will say that is not my decision by any means.
Can you try to convey that though?
I want us to move to the pavilion so that they can shut down these guys, because while we're here, they'll be here. I'm just saying that I want to make sure that if we leave, they are kicked out.
That's what we're facilitating.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Even over at City Hall.
That group is really dissipated.
Because I was going to say, even at City Hall, we were told to step back past a certain line, but they were able to stand in the middle of the fountain. They were on 2 floors of the thing and had like a full-on stage.
It should be on the people defending their rights.
Yeah.
Who have to leave.
It should be on the hate.
I just want both groups to separate and go their separate ways.
Understand. We will leave once they leave.
To stop people from harming
They are
us,
leaving.
right?
Are they?
I bet you 3/4 of the group have left.
That's fair, some of them.
Okay, so I'm asking you guys take it over to the
Okay, again, not really my decision. If you want to talk to some more people, that's fine. We are organizers. I'm just in the middle of an interview, so we can move. Sorry about that. I just wanted to go off the point that you had mentioned about 2 genders versus multiple genders. I think a lot of the issue is that their side doesn't really understand the difference between sex and gender. Sex is a biological thing, male and female. You're born as whatever gender.
I think the point I'm trying to make is whatever it is, like not even talking about who's right.
Yeah.
There's a very different.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
A little bit like.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find with politically charged issues, if you imagine something that's not as politically charged, you kind of see the dynamics. Yeah. Now, this one's probably politically charged, but probably not for you and me.
I don't think it should be politically charged,
I'm
though.
going to use the example of Khalistan in India.
Yeah.
This is the Sikh.
Yeah.
So let's suppose that Group A thinks that Khalistan is a sovereign country, and Group B thinks no, it's part of India.
Yeah.
Hypothetically. And there's arguments on both sides.
Yeah, for sure.
But just having a different view is not necessarily denying the other person's existence.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, there's a lot of people here that are Muslim. And what I'm hearing from a lot of the trans activists is that if I don't affirm your view of gender, then I'm somehow harming you.
Yeah.
So by the same logic, if you don't affirm their Muslim religion, you could be said to be harming them.
So,
like if you denied, I'm not sure about your religion.
Can I pose a question to that though?
So can I just try to formulate it? I think I'm almost there.
Yeah, for sure. No worries.
So I'm not a Muslim, but one of their tenets is there's one God, his name's Allah, and one God alone.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to say let's suppose you don't believe that, just for sake of argument.
Okay.
You denying that doesn't make the Muslim not exist.
No, of course.
But it seems that when someone doesn't agree with the trans ideology, it's tantamount to us or them saying they don't exist. I'll let you.
So based off that, when we talk to people, like say I was talking to a Muslim person, I'm not identifying them based off their religion, but with gender, you identify somebody based off their gender in every conversation.
I would think, again, I'm not a Muslim, I would say that a Muslim's identity as a Muslim is as core.
Yeah, but when I talk to somebody, if I'm saying he or she or your name, that has nothing to do with your religion. I don't care what your religion is.
What if a Muslim insisted that you had to say, peace of Allah be upon you before you talk?
Is that a thing that Muslim people do with each other? I mean, that's fair. I mean, if that was something that a Muslim person, no worries. If that's something that a Muslim person personally said to me, I would abide by that. I don't
know what you think about
okay, so
let's suppose
I can state my religious views to make this easier.
We're not protesting about you respecting my gender. We're protesting about people not taking away our rights.
Yeah, that's the difference.
That's the problem. I'm not the right for our children to be educated with with a diverse, with options, with like telling them that they're not wrong for being the people they are. Did you know? No, I'm not quite. Did you know the Conservative Party just voted on making it so it's illegal that the Conservative Party just made it? They voted on amendments that would make it so hormones and any gender-affirming care for minors, which is suicide prevention, would be banned. That is taking away rights. They want to take away my right to go whatever bathroom I want to.
That could be your view, but I think they don't share that view.
I don't care about that. It's taking away rights.
Okay.
I'm not asking am I asking them to do something different to me? I'm asking them to let me do what I want.
Your whole
to respect my bodily autonomy.
Your whole premise, though, seems to insist that they accept.
No, I don't give a fuck what they think. They can call me or do whatever the fuck they want with their words. Legislation is what I care about. I don't care about anything else but legislation. They want to legislate out my existence.
By not teaching your worldview?
By not letting me in they want to make it so bathrooms are a single sex space. They want to make it so you can't talk about gender or anything.
I just think it's more respectful. Yeah. So just going off of that, I think that a lot of the whole like belief system and whatnot, it's just science that people identify a certain ways.
But it's clearly not universally held.
No, it's not universally accepted, but they may have a trans child, and that child may feel like they're trans, and then they won't be accepted.
You can protest that math isn't correct. You can protest that 2 + 2 ain't 4.
That there's even such thing as a trans person, which I may or may not agree with, but is something that they fundamentally don't.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like, say,
they don't believe in it. They don't believe it exists.
Exactly.
So if they fundamentally don't believe it exists.
You see a maple tree there, but they don't.
Yeah, but okay, so yeah, great analogy. If I see a maple tree there and they don't, is it if it's a maple tree?
Well, that's an interesting question.
You know what I mean? It's either a maple tree or an oak tree or a pine tree. You're going to identify it by the tree that it is.
But it seems like you're insistent with whether or not they see the tree.
Yeah.
That's sort of a matter of faith, right? Faith in science, faith in their eyes.
I would suppose so, but I would say that science is concrete evidence. It's based in evidence. It's based in testing.
People who don't believe that, do they not?
That don't believe in science?
Just hypothetically.
I mean, they're valid. They're allowed to have their own opinions, but at the end of the day, like, science is a proven fact.
You also need to think about how it affects other people. How it affects other people. You can not believe in science, but if you're taking away the rights of other people, then
Based
it's an
on
issue.
those beliefs, yeah.
You
That's
can
when it
believe
becomes an
whatever you want, but like trans people exist and they're here.
Yeah, again, I don't think they necessarily deny the existence of the people.
Yeah.
But they don't believe in that framework.
That's fair, but at the same time, okay, where I feel like we can make a middle ground on this is that it is up to you that, like, if they don't believe in that, they don't have to raise their kids that way. Unfortunately, the issue is that the schools aren't raising kids that way. The schools, but they aren't. That's the thing. It's a difference of opinion versus fact. What the schools are doing is they're educating on what exists, on what is out there, so that people know it exists and people can accurately and respectfully.
How would you feel if schools just didn't teach about sex or sexuality at all? Leave it to
I think it's very,
families?
very important to talk about sex and sexuality in school. Not to sexualize children, but to educate them and make them aware on decisions that they're going to make as an adult.
Did you know that doing heavier sex education prevents sexual assault against children because it gives them the words and the...
Okay, as somebody who was sexually assaulted as a kid, someone who has been sexually assaulted as a kid, think about this. I wouldn't have known what the fuck was going on if I didn't learn about it. I thank my family.
Woo! Get the fuck out!
It's getting kind of loud, and I think my battery's almost dead. I do
sure.
appreciate the dialogue with all of you.
I was gonna say, I thank my family for teaching me this shit because I wouldn't have been able to recognize sexual assault as a kid, and that saved my life.
Yeah.
So
it's just facts. You can argue against like math. You can argue that 2 + 2 isn't 4. That could be an opinion, but it doesn't fucking matter. It's how it works in biology. It is the facts. It's how it's been for as long as it's ever been. I mean, the state gets to
What
decide.
if people disagree on science?
Then it's inherently an opinion.
I don't know. I mean, you look at the evidence.
Which opinion?
Yeah.
What's your argument based on if you're not going by science?
How is it factually proven in evidence?
I mean, you can, like studies with large amounts of people.
Scientists disagree with other scientists.
Well, you can look at like evolution. Evolution is like a proven thing that exists. You can look at the biology of people.
But you know what a study is? A study is when we get a bunch of people.
I gotta go.
Yeah, no worries. Absolutely.
But I could at least voice
Just-
opinion.
Just when things are getting interesting, yeah.
No space for hate! No space for hate! No space for hate! No space for hate!
Okay. I think my battery's just about dead, so I'm going to wind it up here. It's getting kind of loud.
No space for hate!
The police have done a good job. Thank you very much for keeping the peace here. I think you guys have been very professional today. We appreciate it. Thanks.
No space for hate! No space for hate!
Okay.
No space for hate! No space for hate!
Well, guys, I'll leave it there. I think my battery's just about dead. It's too bad that last conversation was getting kind of interesting. It was hard to hear people. A lot of people talking at once is often the case. Anyway, I'll probably have more to say about this, but thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll make some more videos about this very topic. We'll check in with you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.